The information shared on the Go Beyond Therapy podcast is provided for informational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice, therapy, or medical care. While we aim to share helpful strategies and insights, it's important to remember that every child and family is unique. While we encourage listeners to consult with qualified professionals who can provide personal guidance based on their specific circumstances, any strategies or approaches discussed are general suggestions and may not be suitable for everyone. We disclaim any liability for reliance on the information shared in this podcast and remind listeners to use their own judgment when applying any ideas or strategies mentioned. Welcome to the Go Beyond Therapy podcast, where we dive into the heart of supporting children with diverse needs. I'm Samantha Taylor, a pediatric occupational therapist passionate about helping children and families thrive. This podcast is all about creating a welcoming space for our entire disability community, from families, therapists, disability support workers, and anyone dedicated to supporting children on their unique journeys. At Go Beyond Therapy, we believe in empowering families at every stage. Through this podcast, we'll explore practical strategies and share valuable resources like tools and education approaches that can make a meaningful impact. We'll connect with other professionals, parents, and advocates who are all working towards building a more inclusive and supportive community for our kids. Whether you're navigating everyday challenges, looking for new approaches, or just need a reminder that you're not alone, you're in the right place. Hello, and welcome back to another Go Beyond Therapy podcast episode. Today is all about the emotional load of supporting children who are neurodivergent or have additional needs. This episode is for parents doing all the things that no one sees. The emotional labour, the constant planning, the late night Googling, the quiet tears in the bathroom. We're talking about the invisible load and why it feels so heavy even though you're not doing that much on paper. So if you're tired, stretched thin, or just need someone to say, "Yep, totally get it," you're in the right place and you're definitely not alone. Let's start by naming it, because when we name something, we stop blaming ourselves for carrying it. The invisible load might look like forgetting the type of brand that your child's toothpaste is, rewriting the school communication email 6 times just so it sounds right, planning therapy appointments, funding paperwork, birthday parties, sensory safe shoes, all while holding your family's emotions, needs, and feelings all together. It's the emotional labour of being the steady one, the one who tracks progress, the preempted meltdowns, and stays regulated even though inside you're just screaming. It's the mental load of being the translator, the advocate, the social coordinator, and the snack packer. It's holding space for your child's experiences and burying your own. And let's not forget the identity load, being a therapist parent, a teacher parent, a case manager parent, and sometimes barely feeling like a person. Sound familiar? If your head's nodding, keep listening. You're definitely not alone. Here's something I wish people heard more of. You're not failing. You're carrying more than people will ever understand. So if you felt snappy over something small, tired even after sleeping, like your brain is buffering on a loop, it's not a weakness, it's just capacity overload. You're running a marathon while learning the route, paving the road, and putting the family together at the same time. And you're not dramatic, you're human, a human who's doing extraordinary things quietly and constantly. Now, the truth is, we just can't drop everything, but we can change how we're carrying it. So here's a few gentle, realistic ways to help ease some of that pressure. First one is to write it down. Use a brain dump list, messy, unfiltered. Even if it's just seeing it on paper, might gives your mind just some breathing space just to get it all out of your head and onto paper. You may even find that writing it down in dot point form in like a to-do list, but you might also use things like a journal where you can actually write down how you're feeling, the mental load, and actually do some reflection on it. Another thing we can look at is choose one thing to leave. We're not superheroes. We can't do everything all at once. But sometimes if you can just accept taking one thing off your load, if it's the washing, if it's getting ready for school, if it's cooking, for example, just take one thing off your load just to give yourself a bit of breathing space and ask yourself, does this need to be done today? Or does it feel urgent? Or can it be left to another time? Another idea is to take micro breaks that work for you and your nervous system. Have a think about you as a parent and how your nervous system works. You might be easily overstimulated. You might need quiet. There's lots of different things that your body might need. Trying to use ideas and activities that will help calm your nervous system. So this could be 2 minutes in the garden. It could be a podcast episode that speaks to you, a car ride in silence. You may choose to take some noise cancelling headphones with you when you go grocery shopping. But trying to find something within your day as a micro break to help you calm your own nervous system. Another idea might be just to let someone in. You don't have to pour your heart out. You don't have to be super honest and vulnerable with them. You might just be able to say, look, I'm a bit stretched today. Can you pick up the kids from school? Can you make that phone call to that allied health clinic to try and find an appointment? Try and use the network you've got and the community you've got around you to try and take some of that load off. It might even be simple things like ordering the groceries online instead of actually going to the supermarket. But using really small, effective strategies within your day or your week to help try and relieve some of that pressure. Celebrate the really small things. And I totally understand that with families and parents, we're always looking on to the next goal, the next thing we need to work on, because we're always so focused on the development and what needs to be done as such, where if you pause and take a moment and actually celebrate the small things that have happened, then you can work on some of that gratitude and be able to find the joy in your life. So say you've had a really hard morning and you replied to that email and you showed up. That's absolutely a beautiful thing to celebrate, because if it wasn't for you, that email would not have been written. You wouldn't have advocated about your child and their schooling. There are so many opportunities within your day to just celebrate the small things, the things that you've actually been able to get done, which for someone else might seem like trivial everyday things, but for you, it takes a bit of time. So celebrate it and hold on to those moments. I want to take some time to have a look at some journal prompts that we can have a look at together. I know for a lot of parents, they don't have the time to journal, or they feel they don't have the time to journal, which out of all the different types of strategies I've suggested to my families and that I've used personally too, I find journaling really helps you get out of your own mind and really brain dump a lot of that emotional baggage that you might be carrying around with you. Now, this journal is not for anyone else to read. This is for you and you only. I find handwriting and journaling works a lot better than typing it onto a phone, but do what you want with it. Use your preferences, because if you're on the road or if you're going between appointments, it might be best to use your phone to give you that opportunity to journal rather than carry around a physical notebook with you. If you are choosing a physical notebook, I would choose a bounded notebook, not one that's a spiral notebook, because then it sounds funny, but your own thoughts and opinions are there. They can't be ripped out. So I want you to have a think and a listen and just let your mind wander as you hear some of these prompts. If you'd like to pause the episode now and do this properly when you've got some time, I'd like you to pause the episode and I'd like you to make an alarm of a time possibly within your day to prompt you to put time aside for this. Pause the episode now, make that alarm, and then come back to it. We're going to move forward. So again, I just want you to listen and think, or speak your thoughts out loud if you're driving or taking a walk. This is just a quiet moment for you. Here is the first one. What am I carrying today that no one else can see? Let that answer come to you without judgment. Maybe it's a worry. Maybe it's a tiny 100 little to-do things. Whatever it is, it's real and it matters. Have a moment just to sit with that. What am I carrying today that no one else can see? Maybe it's prepping for that NDIS planning meeting that's coming up in a few weeks. Maybe it's not knowing what's coming up in the NDIS. Maybe it's stressing about your child at school. Maybe it's financial worries. But what is it today that you are carrying around that no one else can see? Here's our next one. What is one thing I wish others understood about my day-to-day life? Maybe this is extended family. Maybe it's friends of yours who don't quite understand just how hard it is to get to appointments or coffee dates. What's something that's felt invisible but you wish someone could truly see? Next is, what can I give myself permission to let go of today? Just one thing, a task, a thought, a guilt that's been sitting heavy. What could you wait till tomorrow, or maybe doesn't need to be carried at all? Here's one that might feel a little bit tender. What would it feel like to show myself the same compassion I show my child? Imagine speaking to yourself the way you comfort your little one. What would you say? What tone would you use? What would you offer yourself? And the last one, what am I proud of right now in the way I parent, advocate, or simply keep going? You don't need to win awards. Maybe you kept your cool this morning. Maybe you showed up to another appointment. And maybe you just kept going. These are all kind of moments we often rush past, but you deserve to be seen too. If one of those questions has stuck with you, maybe come back to it later, like I mentioned earlier. Or voice note it to yourself. There's no correct way to reflect. You're not just managing your child's world. You are learning how to hold space for yourself as well. If this episode has landed with you today, I'd love for you to share it around to your community. And as always, you can always find tools, support, community over at Go Beyond Therapy on our website or connect with us in our socials. So let's keep walking this path together. Thanks for listening and take care of yourself today. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for spending some time with me. I know life can be full on and I appreciate you being here. If today's episode has resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need to hear it too. And if you want to keep the conversation going, you can find me over at our socials or on our website. Remember, you're doing an incredible job and you're not alone in this journey. Until next time, take care and be kind to yourself.